Y'all can be mad at me if you want to. Matter of fact, call right now, 800-223-9797. You know I've worked with Diddy for a long time. And, supported his music, supported his efforts to put out music. And there were always rumors, but, I'd never seen anything until, obviously, we see the Cassie video. And we hear there was rumors, but it was nothing substantiated. Well, the Southern District of New York last night has arrested Diddy. And I always remind, oftentimes amongst ourselves up here, when we hear these stories and we know people, they come to the radio station, we do interviews, we play the music, we do all that. We'll look at each other and go, yo, we really didn't know that person. We didn't know what they was doing behind. We're not in the bedrooms. We're not at the parties late night. We're not out here getting high with these people. You know what I mean? We might see them at a club or an event, but that's about the extent of it. So I don't really I feel bad, but I also don't feel no type of way if this is what you was doing out here, bro.
I know.
I don't feel no type of way if you was out here. We saw the video of you beating up Cassie.
Yeah, that was a line in the sand moment, because at that point, what I saw was, and I don't want to say that prior to that I never had fond feelings for Puff, because I certainly did. He was always good to me. And as much as we can say that stuff doesn't matter, it does. It affects the way you see someone. And when I saw that video, I was like, oh, I could never befriend someone who is capable of doing that, who's okay with that. And so it makes everything else now seem plausible. Mm-hmm. I now believe it's hard for me now to hear of any story. I mean, listen, guys, we've seen videos of people getting in physical altercations in their relationships, and that's not okay. That's terrible, right? And I've been able to see that the person tries to make amends and they move forward, and maybe the people even reconcile, whatever. Yo, when I saw him treat her like someone abusing an animal, literally just like she was not human, at that point, I kind of believe everything is possible now, guys.
Well, and then it goes, the New York Times article they wrote where they interviewed people that went to college with him at Howard, and how he was abusive to a woman he was dating in front of everybody multiple times. Mm-hmm. And people recounting that back when he was at university. And so
and being publicly crazy, people seeing him in the street, in the yard at Howard, screaming like a lunatic and threatening people, going all the way back and 30 some years.
Well, so then
even when you just take time and read some of the pieces from some of the lawsuits, they're very, very detailed, and a lot of people are saying the same thing.
Well, and so that's the abuse side. The Southern District of New York here is also putting in the sex trafficking side, which I feel like people need to examine this.
Can you explain a little more about what in your...
I don't understand his charges completely.
Okay.
But it's my understanding that when you are paying to transport another human across state lines for the purpose of sex acts, and there's compensation associated with that, that is sex trafficking. And so when you hear people, we flying the girls out, and I got flued out, and ribbit, y'all might want to chill, bro, because clearly what's going on with Diddy, it's not just recent stuff. Which means that if you've been out here living that life, it could come back to get you.
Yeah.
A lot of people are very sick. And a lot of people have serious addiction problems and violence problems and trauma issues. And because Diddy was so successful, there's that famous video that up until recently would move around every couple years of him sitting at the desk screaming at people on the phone and then standing up and celebrating how great he was nobody can F with me, like the pounding his chest video, like I do this, I get things done. And he's like, you know the video I'm talking about?
Yep.
And we celebrated that to some extent. Like, he was able to channel some of his crazy, unhealthy behavior into wins in the business world by intimidating, by being a hustler, by being smart. And so as a result, he never got checked for this behavior that obviously many people knew was happening.
Well, how about
But
this?
it's also
Rosenberg?
important. I just want to say that it's also important to say, I think a lot of people gloss over the fact that he's a very powerful man. And when I mean powerful is that he's able to cover up a lot of things. Because when people say, why are you coming out and saying something now? Well, evidence suggests he's had a way of intimidating and keeping people quiet. I mean, even in that, let's just bring out the most, famous one, the Cassie situation with Kid Cudi and the blowing up of his car in his driveway. And that's just one. So I just think that people, they use it as an excuse. Why are people coming out now? Why are people coming out now? Well, he's a very powerful man with very powerful connections. Things that I don't even know about, but I know enough. If someone's car is being blown up in a driveway, that's scary, guys. That's enough to intimidate anybody.
Yeah, you're right. People do pull that out a lot. Why now? And they don't understand that, like, you could be another powerful person. You could be a big, strong man. You could be any of these things and still feel like you weren't able to say anything.
And have people working with you.
Well, this, while we're talking about Diddy today, right, the behavior we're talking about is rampant in a lot of industries at the highest levels.
Yep.
It's, Diddy's the convo because we're talking about, we work at a music station. We've been supporting this guy's music for many years.
And he was just arrested.
And he was just arrested yesterday. But if we zoom out and we look at a Harvey Weinstein, a Donald Trump, a Diddy.
Of course.
Right?
Jeffrey Epstein,
keep going. It's not all everybody that is influential and in power, but it's a significant bunch.
And when you get to a certain level, it seems like if you're someone who's already predisposed to some unsavory things, and then you get an unimaginable level of power and money, what you become capable of is insane.
Well, I'd even reverse engineer that, Rosenberg.
I hear you.
There are people out here who will act whatever way and do whatever to get to the bag. And so once that chase is on for the bag, then it becomes a power play. How can I now subvert any of my competition, make them afraid, intimidate, control the scenario, control everything, so that I am the winner of the bag chase?
Yeah, but then it extends beyond being about money and being successful in business. It's how can I dominate every single human being?
Yes.
I mean, in the case of what we're hearing about Diddy, guys, it doesn't even sound like gender matters. He wanted to exert dominance, it sounds like, allegedly, over every kind of person. Even if it's your girlfriend, even if it's some male producer. Like, everything was about being dominant over everybody. Yo, Ibra, if you really think about it, it's kind of like when you watch Game of Thrones. And you're like, nah, nobody's as evil as Joffrey. Like, King Joffrey? Nah,
it is.
Nah, when people start to be able to live like kings, it seems like they really do some really insane things.
Well, and the reason I keep, talking about the whole construct of power and power dynamics in the modern world and zooming this thing out is because we live in a time where we have, our fandom and support of something, our love for an entity or a person had pushed us to be blind to the fact that there's abuse taking place in many ways and shapes and forms. And if it's to our benefit, we'll ignore it. Oh, man, the music's fire.
Yeah.
Or this person is pushing ideals that I love. And I support, so I don't care what they're doing to everybody else. But what I need them to do, they doing for me.
The music is good. The clothes are good. I like the clothes, like whatever it is. Yeah.
So, you know, while it is a toxicity that runs rampant in many industries, you know, often we are the ones that are supporting it. Even when we see someone who's like, can't stop, won't stop.
It's crazy, too, if you really want to get, like, nerdy. And
told us, can't stop, won't stop. I'm a bad boy.
Bad boy.
I mean, literally, his last single before this all happened was Act Bad. It literally looks like an addicted, crazed, sex-fueled romp. It literally freaked me out. When we saw it, we were like, what is going on here? But if you really like,
well, I heard the song and I was like, "What is going on here?" I never actually even saw the video.
Oh, you were off. You were off that day, and we all watched it together on StreamYard. We were like, "What the hell is going on? Is my man completely nude with a sock on?"
Yo,
no, that was his last video. So like, even as he was like trying to be a new version of himself, he still couldn't completely get rid of. You would think, right? I want to be a whole new person. I don't want anyone to even remember that there's a bad side of me. And he still couldn't resist making a single that was like, but it's in here. Like, it was literally right there. And when you think about it from a hip-hop standpoint, Ebro, the crazy part is if you were to rewind this whole thing 30 years, yo, the divide in hip-hop over Bad Boy and Puffy specifically, and for y'all,
huge,
for you guys who are listening who don't know, for backpackers like me, and this is way before I came to Hot 97, any of that, Puffy was the symbol for like evil and ruining hip-hop. That was a thing.
Shiny Suit Man.
Shiny Suit Man, the line in the sand was Puffy. Like, if you were a hardcore underground person, with the exception of basically Benjamin's, when records like that would come on, be like, yo, turn that ish off, man.
Well,
we don't play that over here.
But see, the thing was, we love B.I.G. though. We knew what B.I.G. was, and we knew what the Warlocks were. We liked the Locks.
But B.I.G. was gone. It really set off after Biggie died.
Well, no, but that's what I mean. We liked the Locks, and we knew what Mace was. Like, there was still great music there. But yes, I'm not saying you're incorrect.
No. You should separate that. It wasn't everything Bad Boy. That is all. You're absolutely right. But when it got to that shiny suit, Mace feels so good. Bad boy. Can't nobody hold me down. That was a big line in the sand between people who were purists. I mean, dude, J. Rue the Damager was on a mission against Puffy. He was trying to tell the world, this guy is bad. This is a bad guy. And people really felt that way. And it is interesting now. If you could have fast forwarded 30-some years, this is a crazy end.
Bring up the Roots, what they do. The song doesn't really capture it, but the music video is the Roots dissing Bad Boy and those Bad Boy videos, like waving champagne bottles and like mimicking Bad Boy videos. The Roots, yes, what they do.
That was it was a thing. I'm not saying it has anything to do with this, but it is an interesting.
No, but I think the hypersexualization, the materialism, the toxicity, and just the being enamored with chart position and that being the end of
and
the
money
thought,
and
money was definitely. And by the way, right now in hip hop, we're living in the same thing. That's what the Kendrick Drake thing is. The essence of it, some of it really is. Right, we're living in a time where someone is saying, "Hey, y'all, this dude got a problem, and it's not good for us." Matter of fact, Kendrick's new song is literally like, "Yo, y'all, the party's over. Stop, knock it off." Go home. Nothing to see. It's bad. We're going down a bad path. Turn around. Yo, listen to Lecrae. Lecrae, listen. Yo, everybody, please go listen to Lecrae. Get some spirituality. Reset yourself. So this conversation, while you have Diddy getting arrested by the Southern District of New York, the conversation about excess materialism and toxicity in hip hop has always been relevant. And we land here again today in this time in hip hop where literally Drake and Kendrick's whole thing is about Kendrick calling out that this person has an abusive problem.
Now, listen, we don't know if what Kendrick's saying is based in valid claims. But it is.
But you know, we're not we don't know these people, so
we didn't know it. We didn't know it about Diddy back then, but we just all had a feeling like there's something not right here.
But we enjoyed the music, and we supported it. So we can't get away from that. There's a lot that we enjoyed. There's a lot that was fire.
Eventually, most of us gave up and just were like, you know, he's part of the furniture. Like he's Puffy. Like at some point, you kind of stopped hating and started just enjoying him as a character in hip hop, right? I wasn't going to still be the 20-year-old who every time a Bad Boy song came on wanted to like throw the record off the turntable. And then I realized when I met him, I'm like, oh man, he's really hip to like good hip hop stuff. Like Diddy always had his ear to the ground. Always. He always knew who the next underground people were. And so I gained like a different, I was like, oh, you know what? Maybe it's not, you know, what I thought. But when you think about it, the smoke around there, plus the Biggie Tupac story, the amount of smoke around that, guys, that story's not over.
No.
That story's really going to start unfolding. Yo, guys, we kind of glossed past. We mentioned it once, but when you think about the craziness, Valletta Wallace recently came out and said she wanted to smack Puffy. That's a crazy thing to hear out loud. That there was so much noise going on at the time. That was around
when she heard the news about Cassie, right?
Yes, but she wasn't just referring to that. It was she was kind of opening up her feelings for the first time.
Really? I didn't take it like that at all. I took it. I thought it was 100% related to his behavior and what she was learning about him.
I thought it was a reaction to the video too.
I guess it's up for interpretation, but let me put it this way. Would you go out and make that statement if that was like the one thing you saw, everything else your whole life had been on the up and up, and you were completely shocked? I don't know
if I was a mom, a parent, yeah. Absolutely. I don't need to see more than that.
I hear you, but Valletta Wallace isn't a public person. She doesn't have a podcast. She doesn't need to go out and make statements. I think there's, and by the way, we've been hearing more and more about Biggie too. There's an article that just came out that Rolling Stone author just told the story about how Puffy demanded to get the Rolling Stone cover. They wanted to put Biggie on the cover, and Puff, according to this writer who wrote the story,
I missed
Puffy
that too.
Yeah, this just happened. This was a big story. Puffy was like, he's dead. Put me on the cover.
Wow.
What? Yeah, that was around No Way Out. I read that too.
The famous No Way Out cover, they wanted a Biggie cover, and he was like, he's not here anymore. I'm the future. Put me on the cover. And that's how we got the famous Puffy cover of Rolling Stone.
Wow.
These are all stories that are just starting to come out.
Right,
people who were around then. Again, to Laura's point earlier, there was so much power that a lot of people know the real insides of their relationship. None of us know what the Biggie Puffy relationship was.
Well, and to that point, you know, if you're a journalist or a DJ, or you just, you know, you don't really have the backing to go to war with these individuals, and you don't want that personal stress, you're not saying nothing.
Who would?
You're not saying nothing.
That's why these articles are just coming out now, 30 years later. People are starting to think, oh, I think he's in trouble, so now maybe I can say something safely.
Well, we'll watch it play out. We'll give you the updates.
That's all we can do.
The feds are all up in New York City. The mayor's catching it. The police commissioner's catching it. Firemen approving things and getting kickbacks. They catching it. Diddy's catching it.
Yo, the picture of Diddy and Eric Adams together from a while ago. Oh, that looks crazy now.
Wait, what?
The video, the picture that they have from the Key to the City day. It's Eric Adams and Diddy together.
Oh, God.
Wow.
Yeah, I saw someone post it yesterday. They wrote, one down, one to go. That's not what you want.
Oh, man, bro.
Lord.